何のために任天堂に入ったかというと、
For the last 6 years, I have traveled all across Japan looking for the answer to one simple question. Why Nintendo? What made this humble playing card and toy company into the extraordinarily successful entertainment giant that we know today? I've traveled far and wide across this country looking for answers to that specific question, and I've discovered a lot. From the frigid northern peaks of Hokkaido to the ancient coastlines of Kyoto, one theme has stayed persistent through my travels. Here, culture permeates everything. Nintendo is one of the most beloved companies of all time, and their origins, the details of what makes this company what they are, is fundamentally Japanese in a way that's mysterious yet profoundly beautiful. So now, in a world where you can view anything online in seconds and the world's information is at your fingertips, allow me to take you on a journey you won't find anywhere else. This is the story of how Nintendo became who they are. There are a great many layers to this story. To begin with today, I want to take you back to the release of Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Whilst the world was awaiting Link's newest adventure in Hyrule, something else was brewing at Nintendo. The game was delayed. Fans were shocked. It was cited at the time that the game needed more work, and while the disappointment was strong at first, we now know with hindsight that the extra work helped it to become one of the greatest classics of all time. Now, to give this some context, the game's producer and creator of the franchise, Shigeru Miyamoto, once said, "Nintendo's philosophy is never to go the easy path. It's always to challenge ourselves and try to do something new." This way of thinking is at the core of Nintendo's beliefs. When the original Zelda was released all the way back in 1986, each and every dungeon map was hand-drawn and crafted by Miyamoto, with some help from his friend Takashi Tezuka.
もともと技術者が作ったんですね。プログラマーとかハードウェア技術者が作るっていう。でそれを僕らはデザイナーっていうか、僕は工業デザイナーだったんですけども、そしてアーティストとか言われる。
Meticulous, unwavering focus and dedication to one's craft no matter what it may be. This has become a trait that goes hand in hand with one's image of Japan. But video game creation is more than just a man with the idea and those in charge. What about those who make sure the game runs bug-free and as smoothly as it can, that truly enhance the experience? The ones whose finishing touches make all the difference before the game reaches the hands of the player. Today, I'm traveling to the busy streets of Tokyo with map in hand and the extraordinary privilege of meeting my friend and one of Nintendo's engineers from the early 1980s. He worked directly with Miyamoto on Yoshi's Island, Chibi Robo, and the original Pokemon games, just to name a few. And now he runs an appointment-based cafe in Tokyo, where he shares stories of his time at Nintendo with fans from all over the world. And here's your chance to see it for yourself.
バグだからね、バグを潰すっていう虫取りって言われる、プログラムによるミスを見つけるのが仕事。何をするために任天堂に入ったかっていうと、特に理由がない。これからビデオゲームが来るぞなんてことも思ってないし、僕の個人的な考えね、日本人が作るゲーム、それはおもちゃにしても何にしてもそうなんだけど、やっぱり丁寧に作られているのね。例えば、任天堂だと子供が遊べるようなものを作りたいって言ったら、やっぱり子供の立場になって子供が楽しんでっていうものをちゃんと作るように、いわゆる戦争だったり人を殺すとかっていうゲームが少ない。やっぱりもっとハートフルなゲームが多くって楽しくって、ファンタジーでメルヘンでみたいなことの方がゲームっぽかったから受け入れられたのかなっていうのも思います。はい。もう他では絶対にできない経験っていうのが生まれると思うのね。だからどこがいいとかダメとかじゃなくて、何を見るかとか何をするかっていうことなのかな。 何かを食べるとか絵を描くとか匂いを嗅ぐとか五感で何を吸収するか何を得るかっていうことが大切なんだろうなって思う。
Chokan's words resonated within me, and it was clear that a huge amount of love and care went into every project he'd ever worked on. He also pointed me in the direction of a colleague who just might be able to shed more light on the inner workings of the politics at Nintendo. But that will be in a few days' time. This is Yamanashi, and it's home to a surprising amount of history. HAL Laboratories. Blink and you'll miss it, but this unassuming building and those within it created some of Nintendo's most iconic series years ago. Masahiro Sakurai with Kirby and Super Smash Bros. Shigesato Itoi with the cult classic Earthbound. Even Satoru Iwata, former president of Nintendo, was in charge of HAL in this very building before his promotion. And the reason I took you here is to show you that even a building creating world-famous content is modest, compact, and convenient. The focus is more on creating the right games with a good team than it is about having the most grandiose offices. In a way, it's not so different from the headquarters of Nintendo themselves, nestled away in a humble building off a residential street in Kyoto. After having spent some time in Yamanashi, I was feeling refreshed and ready to head to my final interview. This time, I would ask about the most influential names in gaming.
My name is Robert Safezan. I'm a video game producer here in Japan. While I believe that every region has their own core philosophy in game design and company structure, I do believe that Nintendo's internal philosophy is unique even within the Japanese gaming industry. I'm not sure how much I would accredit it to Nintendo being a Japanese company so much as I would with Yamauchi's leadership. In particular, you know, when he discovered that Gunpei Yokoi had made a toy which would eventually become the Ultra Hand, he wasn't angry or annoyed that he was wasting his time. He instead promoted him, and Gunpei Yokoi would go on to, you know, create much of Nintendo's later success stories. I believe that in their ability to pivot, they also have the ability for consistency. For example, with their idea for quality assurance of the games released on the Famicom were all approved through them before being officially released, as well as, again, prioritizing the user experience versus chasing trends. But again, they have a lot of unique philosophies that aren't necessarily shared by other Japanese companies. And while I'm sure there's an element of Japanese culture that has an effect on this, at the end of the day, I think it's the individuals behind Nintendo, more so than Nintendo being Japanese, that we find this from.
I started this project looking for answers as to why Nintendo, above all other companies, became so popular in the early 1980s. And what I think I've discovered is that there is no one answer. It was the perfect mix of great ideas, impeccable timing, Japanese culture and ideals, great leadership, and most of all of the passionate people that went into making these projects come to life. Something that Chokan said stuck with me. He said that games were never meant to be made for the makers, but for the players to enjoy. It made me realize that we're not so different. On my filmmaking journey over the last 15 years, my greatest joy has always been in taking you along with me to experience these travels. So we're not alone. I think as a small child growing up when all of these games were coming to be has made it even more amazing to see them come full circle as a medium that can be enjoyed by anyone, even in my own family. Nintendo has affected so many of us in different ways, and I think this question is too big for one man to answer. So please leave a comment below and let me know what you think led to Nintendo's popularity. Thank you so much for following along this journey with me. Lately, the highest amount of content coming from my channel is from the YouTube Shorts, where I post obscure Nintendo content, so I hope you'll give those a watch. Also, I'm considering uploading the full unedited version of both of these interviews, so if that's something you'd like to see, let me know. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.